making it to the front page of the major names. Heavily reported and discussed in the media. A situational analysis of commercial exploitation.
Welcome to Simpson at 7. In the history of Fiji, no place has endured strife and turmoil as much as Vatukoula, a place where great wealth and employment have been gained by the mining of gold. After 80 years of mining, Vatukoula and her people are today fighting for their survival, while a lot of bitter issues remain unresolved. Tonight on Simpson at 7, we bring you the story of a place and a people with a heart of gold. It was once described as one of the most beautiful places God ever put metal into. But over the last 80 years since mining operations began, the history of Vatukoula has been marked not only by the mining of gold, but by severe hardships, bitter industrial disputes, blood, pain, and heartache. Although it closed temporarily for less than a year in 2006, the Vatukoula gold mine holds the record as one of Fiji's longest-serving industrial operation. But it is also the scene of the country's bloodiest and longest-running industrial dispute. In fact, the strike by mine workers in Vatukoula that began in 1991 could easily be the longest strike action in world history. Officially though, successive governments have not recognized the walkout by over 400 miners 18 years ago. And a High Court ruling in 1991 declared that the miners' strike was illegal. Defiantly, however, the sit-down continues today, even though the numbers have dwindled. The strikers have vowed to sit here until the truth about Vatukoula as they see it is acknowledged, even if they take their dispute with them to their graves.
The truth to come out, that's what I want.
Finding the truth about Vatukoula is difficult and complicated, although the community is small and inhabit a relatively small geographical area. The issues go as deep as the hundreds of meters underground that miners go to find gold, and as far back as 1935, when the mine started operations. Over the decades, a complex set of agendas and issues have interwoven themselves into the basket of conflicts that divide Vatukoula. The major issues over the years have been about housing and pay and working conditions, with well-documented charges filed and fired by the various sides involved. But at the heart of this has been a bitter and long-standing struggle for control and influence at Vatukoula between the unions and the mine management.
The main thing issue we want to have the union here, the union to stay. When we leave this place, there's the union for the people.
But I think the main problem that we have at that time is that the company and the union were not working together,
In 1947, just 12 years after the mine was opened, there was a violent confrontation when miners walked off their jobs, which saw some changes and improvements to the working and living conditions of mine workers. In the 1970s, there were 7 years of continuous strikes, with the company sitting out and winning a 10-week strike in 1977. This led to mass sackings in order to end unionism at the mine. The force of personalities involved in Vatukoula through the years, from union leaders to mine managers, also played a factor during the various standoffs. And all governments that ruled during the period of the strikes have all been seen to be on the side of the mining company. Everyone has their version of the truth, but what is clear is that today, as it has been in the past, Vatukoula is a hard place, where some hard men have made their lives, and where families have earned and made a living for almost a century. In 2006, Emperor Gold Mine Limited, who had run Vatukoula for decades, suddenly closed shop, and almost 2,000 workers, most of whom had lived in Vatukoula all their lives, were suddenly without employment. It was the biggest social and economic crisis Vatukoula had ever faced. Poverty rose quickly with the unemployment, and the very life of the community was threatened. Many workers said goodbye to their heritage and left Vatukoula, but many also stayed behind. They either had no place to go or decided to try their hand, keeping their faith in the mine's future.
I was born here in Vatukoula. I started my apprenticeship in Vatukoula, and I've been in the mine since then. It's about the 32nd year in the mine.
William Sikuri heads the Vatukoula Mine Workers Staff Association, which was formed in 2003 to look after the interests of salaried and contracted staff. He was one of those that stayed behind to try to revive the mine.
After the closure, no one was interested. No one was interested in this mine. So we decided that if no one was interested, why can't we run the mine? Especially the staff, see? With the staff, you have all the engineers there and all the mine captain. You have got everyone there who are in management position. And we decided to make a plan and say, okay, we'll take this to the government at the time and tell them, okay, if no one wants to run the mine, then we're ready to run the mine until such time that we have a buyer. So we made a plan and we went to Suva and we presented the plan. It was quite a good plan, but the buyer came in. That was Westec. And I think they decided to take Westec because you don't have to spend any money. At the time, we decided that we need 10 million to restart the mine. And we contributed through forms to be taken to the FNPF, and we got 4 million. The plan was the 51-49% share with the government. And we got our 4 million, and we presented to them, if we need to restart now, we better restart now. And the plan was to restart the mine at February 2007. But Westec came in and it dragged on.
Government banked the revival of the mine to Westec Gold, a company whose motives have now been questioned.
With Westec, he took all obligation from Emperor. So actually he bought the company for only $2. With all the creditors that he said, no, he promised Emperor that he'll pay. So he paid nothing. He came in and did all the rest of the ore that was on top here and all the ones in the mill. He mined the thing, milled the thing, and turned it to ounce to gold. And then eventually he sent for, I'm not quite sure how much he sent, but he sent for a large sum of money, which he won then.
He made money.
He made money from $2, he made millions.
After months of wrangling and negotiations with government over taxation issues, Westec sold the mine to mining company River Diamond, who put some real commitment into the mine. The mine reopened on a reduced scale in November 2007, and the name was changed to Vatukoula Gold Mine Limited. A year and a half on, the mine is again breathing out smoke as sign of life and gaining momentum. Just over 700 workers are now employed, but it is a measure of the continuing sensitivities around Vatukoula that the mine's general manager could only speak to Simpson at 7 from a prepared script when we visited the place on the 25th of April this year.
Our advisors have agreed for me to speak to you following this approved script. I will be unable to take any questions after finishing talking to you for the reason mentioned above. You may be aware that on the 9th of April 2009, our parent company had received a number of approaches which may or may not lead to an offer for the entire company. Discussions were at an early stage and further announcements will be made in due course as and when necessary. This places a greater need to ensure that the price-sensitive information is not made public, and it is for this reason that I am not in a position to provide more detailed information to you today.
Later, as he took us on a tour of the mine, Mr. Lithley pointed out that there is a critical need for capital injection if there is to be any expansion in Vatukoula, or to do the necessary exploration for the estimated gold deposits it has in store. This was in line with the statement he read from the prepared script.
When we first acquired the mine in April 2008, we instigated a refurbishment program across the mine, with particular focus on the underground mining equipment, pumps and our power generating capacity. Although this has been successful in achieving the increased production to date, it is evident that to achieve our production target of 110,000 ounces of gold per annum, we will need to embark on a capital expenditure program to acquire additional mining underground equipment. The capital expenditure program will require between 6 million to 8 million United States dollars to align the mine to remove current production bottlenecks and enable us to achieve our production target.
The push for more capital to upgrade the mine has seen further shareholder activity and the buying and selling of shares within the company in the international market.
A major Canadian investment fund has bought 455 million of these shares and now have a 17% interest in the parent company.
The Canadian company is Canadian Zinc Corporation, which in early May 2009 bought further shares to now own 20% of Vatukoula Gold Mine Limited. Part of the funds raised by Canadian Zinc will go towards capital expenditure in Vatukoula. Lithley says new investments could turn Vatukoula into a world-class medium producer of gold.
Subject to the investment into the mine, we believe it will be able to achieve a pro-rata rate of 110,000 ounces of gold during the first half of 2010. Provided the gold price remains at the current levels and the price of oil does not increase, this will provide for a worthy operating gold mine. We believe the mine has turned the corner. We still firmly believe in the future success development of the Vatukoula gold mine for all stakeholders and for Fiji. Mine staff have performed exceptionally well in the current environment.
After waking up from its slumber, this mine now never sleeps, with miners working round the clock in 3 8-hour shifts, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are signs of revival everywhere. The 9-hole golf course, which Lithley rates as one of the most difficult in the country, is being reopened after it lay for some time in a state of decay. The bowling club, which has a rich legacy and once the home of some of Fiji's champion bowlers, looks in top shape. And just up the road at Theodore Park, tough rugby is being played every Saturday, with a healthy crowd in attendance. But some symbols of Vatukoula's past glory days remain abandoned. The Goldfield Primary School, where the children of expatriate miners were once educated, sits unused, and the tennis court is not what it once was. There was once over 300 expatriate workers and their families living in Vatukoula. Now there's only 7. At the Rocky Beach swimming spot where the children of Vatukoula would flock to every Saturday afternoon in the past, Simpson at 7 only saw 2 young lovers the Saturday afternoon we visited. But religion remains a strong and enduring presence in the mining community. Spirituality has carried these mining families through some of their darkest days and a source of motivation for the community in the face of a tough future. But while Vatukoula is exhibiting clear signs of life after its near-death experience 2 years ago, an issue continues to haunt the place. The unresolved strike that began in 1991, for which many have suffered and sacrificed for, and for which some have even died.